So recently, I've been making percussion sounds in Madrona Lab's Sumu. I wanted to show you some of the presets that I've been working on. I created this little loop which I'll play now. So yeah, I've also got this neoverb and I've got this more feedback machine too, which is a delay. So I'll just mute these, and then on this percussion, I also had this EQ and I've got this limiter. That's just for some really quick mixing. So I'm going to turn those off now. And this is what the drum sounds like without any of the mixing plugins. So let's audition the sounds really quickly. So we got the sword. This first one is a kick sound. And this one is using an envelope with a high scale slope. And that's going into the frequency cutoff for the filter, and it's also going into the amp and the pitch, and this is a different wiring than the standard one. So the envelope is controlling this amp, and then the amp from the partial is controlling the level for the gates. Next, we've got this snare patch, which is similar to the kick patch. We've also got the envelope going into the resonance for the filter, and it's using a different patch. But yeah, it's similar to the kick. Next, we've got this clap sound. One of the interesting things I did here was putting the pulses into the time dial, so that kind of smears the sound up a bit. It's using this probability curve and the amount here. So if I put that up, it's going to drastically change the sound. That was on 6. So yeah, also this sound is using the reverb built into the Spaces module. So next up is this tom sound, which is adding a syncopated rhythm to the kick, and it's using the grid layout in the Spaces module. The wiring is similar to the snare and the kick as well. The partials has been slowed down a lot, and I've picked a region in this sound that sounds kind of knocky and hollow. Next is this tambourine type sound, and I'm using the partials and the envelope to modulate the spaces, and I've also got some noise here, which creates a sort of splashing animation down here. And again, I'm using the pulses to animate the playheads on the partials. Next is this kind of metallic high-pitched percussion sound that adds some... I made it a bit wider in the Spaces module. And there's also this companion one, which is a variation on the same patch. But this one's spread out differently and using a different part. Together it sounds like this. Next is this hat. Most of the noise sound is coming from it's actually from the modulation here. It gets very metallic. So yeah, that brings back a lot of the noise. And with the modulation depth very high, that makes it even more noisy using the FM. The pulses isn't actually doing anything in this patch. Next up, I've got this crash sound, which is it's got a lot of patching in the, I'm not sure which is being used, but a lot of this sound is coming from the position modulation of the partials. There's also a fair amount of FM on this sound. The filter is being modulated by the envelope as well. And the space module is creating some motion and rising, which also dampens the sound. Next up is this sound effect. And this one is actually wired up so that if you tap gently, does less, and then hit it hard, it's more of a whooshy. It's almost a sound effect for a game or something, but I'm using it as in this drum loop as well. So yeah, I was experimenting with using the room as part of the space module as part of the synthesis for this sound. Next, we can have a quick look at the synth sounds that I made. So there's this bass sound. But this one is also designed to be layered with this sub sound. Let's have a quick look at that. So this one is just using the test tone. Next up, we've got this retro kind of lead sound. So yeah, it's using the pulses here to animate the partials, which gives it some nice variation. It's using a fair amount of FM as well. So yeah, this one was designed to be, I've also got these layers. So there's this glitchy sound, which is based on a similar patch, but I'm strumming this playhead with the pulses. So yeah, that's where the sound is coming from. And then the last part of the layers here is this fly kind of partial, where the partials are flying around here. This one's quite interesting because I've narrowed the number of pulses, and that is what's modulating the time. So this is effectively only one partial that's playing along here, well, it's actually two. So it's two partials, and you can adjust which partials are playing with this center. So yeah, it's these two now. So yeah, using the pulses to limit which partials are being played in the sound. So if I increase width, it would be more partials. So all three of these sounds together. I think these layer quite well nicely together. So yeah, down here I'm using MiniMeters, which is, it's got the spectrogram and the analyzer here. So these are the sounds that I've been making in Sumu recently. If you've got any questions about any of the particular sounds, just ask in the comments. Bye, and see you next time.